view that the only way to handle the U.S. budget deficit is to cut entitlement programs and raise revenues, perhaps hike taxes. He says, quote, having worked to expose and cut waste, I am convinced we will never reform entitlements without putting revenue on the table. To attempt otherwise would require a Republican supermajority that will never happen in our democracy. We are much more likely to enter a depression first. Powerful words from the senator. Senator Coburn has spent the past few months negotiating with a group called the Gang of Six. He recently left those talks. Senator Coburn joins us now, as you can see, from the Hill. Senator, thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Happy
to be with you.
Why did you leave the Gang of Six talks?
Well, I'm kind of on a sabbatical. I felt we had reached an impasse, and if we couldn't move beyond that, we were just spinning our wheels. And if in fact you don't change entitlements, you can't solve our problem. One of the things that's out there that I think has not been communicated well is to the seniors today that have benefits, they're essentially secure. But we cannot guarantee that in the future that's going to be the case. And we should be honest with the American people that we're going to have to change those if, in fact, we're going to have a secure future. So if we don't change them, we will not.
So entitlements was what caused you to walk out?
Well, not having enough changes is what we were on the impasse as far as I was concerned.
Okay. What would make you go back, Senator?
Oh, I don't know that I probably want to debate that through the media rather than have personal and private conversations with the other 5 members of the group who worked in good faith to try to come to an agreement.
But do you have contact with them? Are you privy to what they're talking about now?
It's at times. What I've decided to do is to actually outline $9 trillion worth of potential changes in our government. Betty Lou, look. The American people innately know that we're out of control at the federal level, that we have tremendous amounts of waste, good intentions, but terrible waste. And, you know, we could easily cut $3.5 trillion over the next 10 years just from waste, fraud, abuse, and duplication. And that needs to be a part of anything we do. And I can outline that, where that is. And I will outline that when I put forward this $9 trillion.
Well, one of the things that you did outline, Senator Coburn, in your Bloomberg View column is tax earmarks. And you criticize, members of your own party for not putting that on the table as a way to raise revenues. Why is it so difficult for some of the members of your party to get around to that?
Because they've been stung so many times on promises of decreased spending for increases in revenues, and then the increase in revenues come, but the spending cuts never come. And we're at a point, the international financial community knows it, we know it. The question is will we do it? And the only way you get an agreement is through compromise, and the compromise has to have certain revenues that will flow to the federal government. And remember, the consequences of our tax credit system ends up causing businesses and capital formation to direct capital in ways that the government wants that are not necessarily the best way to get the most bang for our buck out of invested capital. So we end up not getting great job creation, or we get it in a much lower fashion than what we would have otherwise. So the best way for capital to flow in our country is not to fill out a tax reform, but the one that gives the best return on the capital.
All right. Senator, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome, Betty Lou. Good to be with you.
Good to have you with us. Oklahoma Senator Tom Coburn, and you can read Senator Coburn's full editorial on the budget in Bloomberg View, Bloomberg's new home for opinion pieces by leaders in business, politics, and culture. And you can read that full op-ed on Bloomberg, on the Bloomberg View section of Bloomberg.com. As I mentioned, you should check that out. And coming up, how investors should handle the end of the Fed's QE2 stimulus program.